problem with low mileage cars. You guys are probably thinking that I'm going to say in this video, oh, low mileage cars sit too much. But that can be a problem with low mileage cars, but we're going to talk about a different low mileage car. This is the low mileage car that's actually had too much attention given to it, because you see, the ideal way, at least in my mind, where I acquire a quote-unquote low mileage classic Mercedes is after the car has been sitting for a long time with little attention from other human beings. And so really, when we put one of these cars back on the road, we want to be as uninvasive as possible. In other words, if a part isn't bad, you don't go, well, what if it fails? You just leave it alone. That's one of the perks of having a low mileage car. You get to see just how durable the engineering was that went into these things. So what I'm actually talking about, the real problem has to do with the specific temptations that people often indulge in when they acquire a low mileage Mercedes that they've been looking for a long time. And some of these indulgences are They have to do with the way that most people don't really appreciate originality. And this is a complicated thing because the appreciation of originality in original cars, such as original leather that might be a little bit torn, original wood that might be a little bit faded, original carpet that might be a little bit tattered and soiled, original paint that may have some flaws. One of the reasons that this is sort of a very refined stance to take with the classic Mercedes is that you have to have seen how miserably people fail trying to sterilize the car and make it perfect. And there was something that I was going to sum this up as, where people often confuse the desire to preserve the car with the fault of over-improving it. A good example would be this twisted notion that you're preserving a car by replacing the leather in it because it's 50 years old and it's got some tears and it's getting hard. And you think to yourself, oh, I'm preserving this car by putting new leather in it, right? But the new leather doesn't look or feel anything like the original leather. Now, some people do this out of an innocent desire because they don't know any better, but some people do it because everything has to be perfect and sterile for them. And the truth is, no matter how hard they try to appreciate original leather, they just can't. No matter how hard they try to appreciate original wood, they just can't because it's not perfect enough for them. I would say if you want a low mileage car and you want perfect leather, perfect wood, perfect paint, you, my friend, are looking at the wrong type of car. You need to buy a car that somebody has already restored badly so you can restore it the right way. Because there are plenty of these cars. There are not a lot of low mileage cars. Now, how should we handle the low mileage car? Well, first of all, when you have this weird desire to buff the paint within an inch of its life, don't do it. When you think the leather needs to be re-dyed so it looks better, don't do it. If you think that even a piece of carpet needs to be replaced, don't touch it. If you think the engine bay finishes are not yellow zinc plated enough, don't even think about it. If you think that the car needs all new hose clamps because for some miraculous reason, if the original hose clamps have survived all these years, they're just not perfectly colored, don't. If you think for some reason that, the wood in the car, certain pieces of wood aren't quite shiny and bright enough and need to be redone, don't touch them. In other words, if it's like a rubber part under the car that's bad, replace it. Sure, it's a safety item. If your brake caliper's sticking, rebuild your calipers. If your fuel injection hoses are leaking, rebuild them, but replace them, but keep your original clamps. Try to be as minimally invasive as possible. Don't cater to your own weird ideals about how a car should look when it has 27,000 miles or 30,000 miles or 50,000 miles. Just divorce yourself from those ideas. Let the car be what it is. I remember, I'm going to pick on somebody and he might be watching this video, but he and a business partner of his liked to sell 560 SLs. And they had a car that had like 40,000 miles on it. He was so excited because the car had brand new leather. I'm like, it has 40,000 miles. Why does it have brand new leather? Well, because it needed it. The leather was starting to crack. Oh, it was, huh? So what are you saying? That is it like saying that it's a 40,000 mile car, but also saying how it really wasn't in 40,000 mile condition makes you think one of two things. Is it really a 40,000 mile car? Or two, has this car been so abused and neglected that it's really not in 40,000 mile car condition? This is where things get really interesting. If you have to do things like do a bunch of paint correction and replace the leather on the seats and redo the carpets and replace a bunch of exterior trim, there's no point in it. Like the 40,000 miles, even if you can verify the document, is completely pointless because it's not an original car anymore. It's like getting a Silver Star Preservation Award on a car that's been painted once and it's had a replacement engine and has a bunch of incorrect engine bay details and has a new headliner. And you know, the preservation part of the hobby is about accepting the cars and the flaws that they've acquired over the years while making sure they don't get any worse. It's not about taking a car that's like a 6.5 or a 7 that survived for 53 years. Most of these years is a 6.5 or a 7 and trying to make it an 8 or a 9. And in actuality, losing all of its original features, its quality of workmanship. And that's really what this whole thing boils down to. The quality of parts today. I know Tim is going to be rolling on the floor laughing if he watches this video. The quality of parts today, the quality of workmanship today, the quality of replacement leather, the quality of paintwork, the quality of human labor. Anything and everything that used to be done right to a high standard 40 or 50 years ago when these cars were new and being developed absolutely does not exist today. There's no such thing as nice leather today. You can't pay a fortune and get look-alike original-esque leather. It doesn't exist. You can't do it. You can't write a big enough check. Okay? You can't. You can't find a paint job that is the same quality as the cancer-causing, non-eco-friendly crap that they used to paint these cars in, where they used to generously dip the entire naked body in paint before a single fastener was put on it. That doesn't exist. It's gone. Those days are gone. That's why you have to preserve the cars as they are, even if it means not driving them or limiting their use. Now, there are some people, if you're driving like a clapped 350,000 mile 300D like I am, don't worry about it. If you need to redo your seats because they have holes in them, redo your seats. What I'm talking to is the person that has like a 45,000 mile 450 SEL or 280 SE 4.5 or something. That's the person I'm talking to. The person who wants this like brand new car and is so delusional that they think they could take the 25,000 mile 53-year-old car and somehow replicate the processes because somehow it caters to their weird idealistic whims about how things should be. Those whims are a psychological problem. Now, there are some notable exceptions. I've seen people have to repaint ultra-low mileage cars. Why? Maybe someone changed the color. Maybe somebody stored the car in an area where it got brake fluid on it or some other sort of corrosive chemical. Not much you could do. In order to preserve the car's body or at least make it not look like a clown car, you've got to fix those problems. You know, I certainly would. The problems begin when you go a little too far with the improvements that really don't need to be made. You don't need to do anything about cracked leather. You just condition it and enjoy it. You don't need to do anything about wheels that don't have perfect paint on them. You just keep them clean and enjoy them. Some of this stuff really merits no action. People always want you to take action. It's funny because they take action in the wrong places. This is another funny thing. How many low mileage original cars do I see where they've over improved the car cosmetically, but you could not drive the car 15 miles without a major breakdown? Oftentimes people will send us these cars that have been parked for a long time, whether they're low mileage or not, and they look at their bill and they have a stroke because there's so many mechanical things. They're like, but you didn't do this cosmetic thing. Well, I didn't see a need to. I didn't see it. I didn't see a need to, like, you know, pull your entire dashboard apart and redo all the wood. Why? Now you can actually drive your car without it leaking gas everywhere and dumping oil all over the place. I don't know. It's just a thought. Anyway, if you guys liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know some of your stories about low mileage Mercedes, because I'm sure many of you have at least one. So who knows? We'll see you in the next video, and preserve the car you have, because they're not doing this anymore. Nope, not anymore. See you later.